So right now I'm stood in England, but just behind me there is Wales and an abbey that was torn to the ground by an English king. But more interestingly, right where I'm stood now was apparently where the devil himself stood. Let's take a look. So today I am in Tintern. We're going to go and check out Tintern Abbey, which is just down here. We'll also have a little look around the town down there as well. But right now we're at a place called the Devil's Pulpit. So that right there is the Devil's Pulpit. So according to legend, the devil would come up here and he would shout down to the abbey down there to try and beckon up the monks that were down there and get them to turn to the dark side. It is a bit of a strange sight up here though. It does have a little bit about it up here. It does have a sort of mystical feel to it up here. There's a really interesting tree down here which we're going to go and take a look at in a second. But the views up here are spectacular. So it is incredibly windy up here at the moment, and it sort of adds to the atmosphere that we've got going on. But if we just come down here, we're going to see an incredible structure that's been built in the woods, but a tree has decided to grow inside it. Really unusual. Take a look. So as I said, we're going to head down now into town. The Devil's Pulpit's just behind us now. But this walk down through here is really picturesque. Really definitely worth coming up here and checking out, especially for the views up there. So if you are going to do the walk down from the Devil's Pulpit, just a little word of warning, it can be quite steep on parts and the terrain isn't particularly flat. So just take it easy and take that in mind if you are going to do it. So the path down is a little bit sketch. It's a little bit slippy. It's been raining quite a lot today, and some of the stonework back there coming down is a little bit slippy, so you need to go easy. Whoa, whoa, I nearly went then. So I'm currently stood in England, but if I head just over here, then I'm in Wales. So it's a nice little bridge coming across here to Wales, but if you're bothered by slightly wobbly bridges, you might want to think twice about coming on this one. Once you get to the middle, it's a little bit bouncy. Now I'm assuming it's supposed to be like that, or it could be the extra slice of cake I had last week. But yeah, if that sort of thing bothers you, you might want to take it a little bit steady coming across. So there's a few shops and cafes in the town itself, but I've just popped down to Abbey Mill and I've just spotted a little arts and crafts centre over here. Let's go in and check it out. Could you tell me who you are and where we are?
We are in the Wye Valley Craft Association's cooperative shop in Tintern, and I'm Helen and I'm the chair of the Wye Valley Craft Association, and I make the jewellery from stones and precious metals that you can see in the shop.
Yeah, so can you tell me what else we've got in the shop here? What is the sort of concept here of the shop?
The concept is that we each take it in turns to man the shop, and we each get a space in the shop to put our own work in. We specify that everything has to be handmade by the maker.
So when you say we, are you a collective of makers?
We're
then?
a cooperative, yes. We
Brilliant.
describe ourselves as a cooperative. Yeah.
And what do you particularly like about Tintern? Have you been here long? Have you lived here long?
I've lived here most of my life, and I just love its history and the scenery and the vibe of the village. There's an awful lot goes on here. It looks like a sleepy little village, and you'd be amazed at how much stuff goes on here.
And how would you describe the vibe of the place?
Busy, yeah. Always things happening here. On this site, we have a folk festival coming up next month and a wellbeing festival. In the village itself, we've got Fate coming up soon. Things happen all the time in the village.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and then this shop's part of that.
So how many people are actually exhibiting their goods in here?
We've usually got between about 12 and 20 people in here. I think we're about 16 at the moment.
So a good amount of people.
Yes, we have permanent members and we have guests. So that somebody like this with the candles is a guest at the moment, but she's thinking about becoming a member. And Jackie behind you there with her mirrors over there, she came in as a guest and is now a member. So that's usually what people do. They come in, they put their toes in the water, and then sometimes it doesn't work, and if it does work, then they stay.
And what do you make yourself?
I make the jewellery here in the glass cabinets, which is semi-precious stones, crystals, precious metals.
And apart from your own jewellery, do you have any favourite items that are in the shop here?
Oh gosh, it's all really good. I love it. Yeah, I love Jackie's mirrors. I'm glad that she's come into the shop. We've got a lot of wood. We've got some lovely woodworkers, and it's just the contrast really. We've got really delicate sewn items which are tiny, and like Brenda makes over there, and then we've got great big chunks of wood, which is like serving platters and things like that. We've got the very basic things and traditional crafts like willow work. And she does classes, and she does kits that you can do your own willow work on, up to 3D printing.
Brilliant.
Because, about as modern as you can get.
Yeah, that's quite a modern technique.
Yeah,
now. So it's not just the old-fashioned sort of crafts that you've got in here.
No, it's
You've
the
got
ethos.
some very modern stuff too.
We want to encourage local businesses to make whatever they can make.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you.
So it is predominantly arts and crafts that we've got down here, but there is also a cafe and restaurant over here. So we've made it to the Abbey. We'll go and take a look around in a minute. There are some works going on today though, so there is some scaffolding up, but I'll explain more about that in a minute. Anyway, let's go and check it out. If you're not aware, Henry VIII is responsible for a lot of these ruined abbeys and monasteries throughout the UK. The reason he did it is because he wanted his marriage dissolved from Catherine of Aragon, but it wasn't allowed under the Catholic Church, so he decided to declare himself the head of the English Church and get rid of the Catholic Church. So that's a lot of the reason as to why you find a lot of these ruins here. Not only did he just dissolve the church though, he actually came into these churches and he stripped them of all their assets, so any sort of gold or silver, but especially here he took out all of the windows and sold them, and got rid of the roof, which is why it's in such a state today. So Henry VIII is blamed for the majority of the damage here, and rightfully so, because he took the roof off and he sold the lead. But it was also the Welsh mining industry that has partial blame as well, because a lot of the pollution that came from that industry actually damaged the brickwork here. Well, let's go and have a look around the Abbey and see what we can find. It is a ruin, so none of the main rooms are sort of still there, but we can still get a really good idea of how it used to be. So this is the kitchen, and obviously where they would have prepared all of their food. We'll move next door into the refectory where they went and ate, but they were actually split into two main groups. So you had the lay brothers, who were the guys that were out there working, and they were sort of farming as well. But you've also got your choir monks, who are your more sort of traditional monks who would be sort of singing and they would be chanting as well. But yeah, very interesting they were split into two groups like that. So except for when it was a festival season, when they would get some sort of meat, it was generally vegetables that they were eating. But they'd also get beer, which accounted for 25% of their calories a day. So it was less for getting drunk on and more for keeping you sustained for the day. So if you haven't already, it would be amazing if you could like this video. If you haven't already, then please subscribe to the channel as well. And I'd really love to hear your comments underneath as well. Anyway, let's carry on. So it will cost you £5 to park at the Abbey, but you can use that voucher that you get at the parking to use in the Abbey itself. Or what I've done is I've come across the road to the Anchor Inn to grab a little bite to eat, and you get £5 off the price of your meal. So to order at the Anchor Inn, you just go inside with your table number. But if you sit outside where I am, there's an absolutely incredible view of the cricket pitch, and the surroundings here are not bad either. So I've ordered a ploughman's. It looks really good. I'll just show you it now. But got some nice ciabatta on the plate, some really nice looking ham, cheddar cheese, some relishes, a whole apple, some pickled onions, some coleslaw and a nice salad as well. I'm going to tuck in. So what can I say about Tintern? Well, the town itself is really nice. There's a couple of nice restaurants here. There's some really nice looking cafes as well. All I would say is I thought the Abbey was quite expensive to get in. I've got a seasonal pass, so I can get into places like this for free, and I've paid a one-off set fee. But I thought £9 was quite expensive, and I thought £5 for parking was quite a lot. Although, as I said, you can use that voucher in the Anchor Inn, or I think you can use it in the gift shop, or on your entrance fee as well. Also, you can see quite a lot of it, as we can see just behind me, without actually going in there. So unless you really want to go in, you might want to think twice about that. Anyway, I'll see you next time.